We are less than 2 weeks away from the release of Mega Evolution, which is expensive. But to celebrate the release of Mega Evolution, I'm going to give away 12 booster boxes for free. 12 different winners are each going to win a sealed booster box. It will be enhanced. It will come with the Bulbasaur box topper promo. I'm going to give them away for free. 12 booster boxes. And if you want to win, all you got to do is just hit that subscribe button. And then you want to go to this video right up here. I will leave a link for it in the description. That's the video you want to leave a like and a comment on, so that way the random comment picker can do its thing. And then, we're going to choose 12 winners. Well, we'll let the random comment picker choose 12 winners. And then I'm going to announce those winners on release day. So there'll be a YouTube video that comes out on release day. And that's an important day also, because that should start the Mega Evolution Master Set giveaway. So just make sure you subscribe and then leave a like and a comment on that video. Boom, you're entered. Come back on Friday, September 26th. That's the release day of Mega Evolution. And see if you won. Let me know in the comment section what you've pulled from pre-releases so far if you've gone, but good luck. So these are always tough videos to record. I'm going to talk about money. I'm going to talk about money, which is it's like taboo. Like, it's a very frustrating thing for a lot of people. And I think it's because just the way the market is right now, and it's understandable. Like, Pokemon cards are meant to be enjoyed. They're meant to appreciate. They're meant to play a card game, a children's card game. Like, that's the argument that a lot of people have. Ever since I was little, I wanted to open up a card store. I fell in love with Pokemon cards way back when I first got introduced in the Team Rocket era. I really enjoyed them. I enjoyed what they represented. I enjoyed the competitive game. I loved it. And I collected for a while back then. And I actually loved the idea of trading cards in general. I collected baseball cards. I collected pretty much every anime that had a trading card attached to it, or even the card games that you just played, like Magic the Gathering, for example. I collected Magic for a while. I collected Dragon Ball Z for a while. Yu Yu Hakusho when it first came out. Digimon when it came out shortly after Pokemon. I even had the Wizards of the Coast Harry Potter cards. I still have a lot of them. There was so many different card games that I collected back then. And sports cards too. Like, I remember setting up tables when I lived as a kid because I would go to flea markets and there would be these tables that were set up with like plexiglass, and there would be singles, baseball cards and things like that under them, or even Pokemon cards back then with price tags on. I thought that was really cool. I really did. And I always wanted to open up a Pokemon card store. And then as I got older and started going to leagues and things like that idea, like, I wanted it to be different. Like, I had this grand master plan of making things so different and having it be like this ultimate game store, maybe having a bar, maybe having a coffee shop feel to it, and really enjoying the community. And ultimately, it didn't end up working in that regard for a lot of different reasons. But the whole goal of wanting to open up a Pokemon card store really transitioned to like an online setting back in 2015. And it was an idea that I embraced, I loved, I really wanted to make it work, and it was a grind. It was a really difficult time, but I fell in love with the Pokemon card community. I fell in love with the competitive side of things. And at that time, there was a lot of cards that were difficult to get and were relatively expensive for Pokemon card players. Back then, a deck, if you wanted to build like an ultra competitive deck, it would be a few $100s, which wasn't a lot. It's not a lot. It's not a lot of money looking back at things in the grand scheme of things. But at the time, it felt like a lot of money. It felt like a lot of money. And nowadays, you can play an ultra competitive Pokemon card deck for like 40 or 50 bucks. It's a lot different now than what it used to be. Times have changed so much. But back then, I really wanted to do what I could to help competitive players get their hands on cards at a decent price point. I started a competitive team, really trying to transition Pokemon into an esports field. I actually started streaming. I started streaming 4 Pokemon card events, 4 regional championships. I had a team of people that I worked with, and we would actually stream Pokemon card events. If you've ever watched Purple Cliff before on YouTube, Purple Cliff, he's a huge creator on YouTube, but he's a great friend. He's a great guy. He actually would help produce some of these events and cast at some of these events back in the day. We're talking 10 years ago now. But to grow Pokemon, help grow the competitive space, help grow the scene. The goal has always been the same. It's always been to grow Pokemon, grow the community, grow the competitive scene. And over the past a handful of years now. The idea of money has really gotten into Pokemon. We talked about this in the last video that I just put out on Friday. When you start talking about thousands of dollars instead of hundreds of dollars isn't really that big of a deal for a lot of people because you can get a job, you can get a part-time job and make hundreds of dollars. But when you start talking about thousands of dollars and you get all these vendor POVs, which are fine, you get vendor POVs and people watching content out there and seeing these cases with thousands of dollars as far as cards go and singles go, and people trading and selling these ultra mega deals that are going on, $500,000 deals. And a lot of people who just got into the hobby are like, oh, I want to do that, I want that. They see these dollar signs and they automatically are very intrigued, very interested, and rightfully so. Like, it is a very interesting concept because it's just cardboard, right? Like, it's just a piece of cardboard paper, you know, that's got some artwork on it, that has an attack on it, it's got an HP on it, but it's transitioned into this ultra collectible item that is being talked about as an investment. And then it's very taboo right now to talk about money. Money's not always bad, and that's something that's important. We need money to live off of, right? You need money to survive. When you talk about money as your sole focus, I think that's when people start getting frustrated. And that's why I think it's very important to not overstep. To not cross that line where it only becomes about money. Because when it only becomes about money, you lose your passion, you lose the reasoning, you lose the community, you lose all of it. And we have done everything over the last 5 years, ever since MSRP became like a good thing, because yeah, for a long time MSRP was like super expensive. Ever since MSRP became like a good thing, we have done anything and everything in our power to release products wholesale, like what we buy at wholesale, to sell at MSRP, and we're going to continue to do it. We're going to continue to do it with Mega Evolution. We haven't taken any pre-orders in for that yet, but we will sell at MSRP. It'll be $159.99 because we're buying it at wholesale. That'll be the case for Wave 1. That'll be the case for Wave 2. Who cares? Like, it's not that big of a deal. It's not that big of a deal because you get that margin. You get that margin that you expect. As things continue to progress, as more and more people get into the hobby, and as more and more people get frustrated with how Pokemon cards are going, I still think there's a lot of people out there who want to sell at MSRP that just don't have the ability for a couple different reasons. Number one, because they don't have wholesale accounts. They don't have distribution, which is pretty much impossible to get right now, so understandably so. That's why when you go to a Collecticon, or you go to a Front Row card show, or you go to any card show, a lot of the vendors aren't selling at MSRP because they are struggling to find cards at MSRP themselves. But there's a lot of people out there who probably want to sell at MSRP. They just don't have an outlet to do it. But there's a lot of ways, and I think this video resonates, or should resonate, with a lot of people who are just even looking at growing their collection. Maybe they're looking at just making a few $100 extra a month, or whatever the case may be, and they don't want to do where you go to Walmart or Target and buy things out and then sell it on the secondary market for double, triple MSRP, because it's not really helping things long term. It's making a quick dollar, but it's not really establishing any sort of trust factor. And there's been a lot of drama going on in the community about selling above MSRP, and everybody's allowed to do their own thing. Everybody can have their own opinion, and I think that's fine. But ethically, morally, like, we've always wanted to sell at MSRP as long as we're buying the products at wholesale. It's very difficult right now. And the title of this video about making money in Pokemon, like, it probably sounds easy, right? Like, as a store owner, you're buying product at wholesale and you're selling it at market, right? Like, you're making tons of money. You're rich. Like, that's the assumption that goes along with it. And that's not the case, at least not for us. I mean, you could be right in a lot of other areas. Like, some people are probably taking really strong margins right now, really strong advantage of the market. But in my mind, that's not really helping things, and that's not really growing long-term success for your business, for your brand, which is what this has always been about, growing long-term success, and then really growing the community, which is what I kind of touched on in the beginning of this video. Right now, it's tough for storefronts as well, getting product. Product doesn't exist. Product is very difficult to get. You get allocated a certain amount of product for new releases, which is great, and then a lot of times that product sells at market. But for shops like me who sell that product at wholesale, like we sell at MSRP, anything that we can buy at wholesale, we'll sell at MSRP. The problem is, to replace that product, you're paying, usually when restocks hit, it's usually 75 to 80% of whatever the market price is. So, like, I talked about this recently, Destined Rivals booster boxes, we got a case in recently, so one case, and it was 75 at the time. When Destined Rivals was $250 a box, we paid $219 per box. Now Destined Rivals is like $350 a box, like, it's gone way up. But holiday calendars, or advent calendars, we got a restock of those. I think we got like 7 or 8 cases of those. So I don't know, what is that, the 50-ish units, 56 units, somewhere around there. $47. Like they don't even sell really at $49.99. So you're paying close to 95% market on those products. So it's really tough to sell at MSRP if you're buying at market cost or close to market cost. But anything that we can buy wholesale, we'll sell at MSRP. But then what? Like, because you're only getting so much product, and then once it's gone, it's gone. So you have to figure out a way to continue to get people to your website, but you don't have sealed items. And I think it all goes back to the grassroots and what started it all. And on the screen, you may have noticed, like, there's a video that's playing of singles, like just me sorting through a bunch of singles, because we bought recently, I don't know, we probably spent like $50,000 on singles. I'm buying out collections. I'm buying collections from people like Michael and Bing and like all these people who reached out and were selling collections because they're getting out of the game. The hobby has spiked. Like, it's gotten to a point where a lot of people are starting to cash out because they want to put money into somewhere else, or maybe they're frustrated and they're sick of things, so they're selling off collections. So having, like, I wanted to show off everything that we bought, because that stuff is all getting updated to the website, uploaded slowly. It's either been put on there and sold, or it's still getting put up, because I can only put up so much on a nightly basis. But what do we do then? What do we do, because we're not getting restocks of product? There's not enough restocked product out there. And once everything is gone at MSRP, how do you get people to continue to come to your website? And how do you get people to buy when you can't sell sealed product because there's not enough out there? So we're not going to the store. We're not that type of LGS who goes to the store and buys product on Target shelves. That way we can sell at market price on our website. Like, we don't do that. We don't buy really anything anywhere online. Like, the only outlet that we have for product as far as sealed product goes is a distro access. Like, that's it. And if they don't have any product, well, what do you do? And that's what it all goes back to, is the grind. And this is what's important. This is the bulk of the video, is that there is so much more to Pokemon than selling sealed product for this ridiculous amount of profit. There's a lot more to it. So for starters, back here, this is, you can't really see that well, but this is all bulk. This is all bulk commons and uncommons. Bulk reverse hollows right here. Over there is a bunch of bulk reverse hollows. These shelves are pretty much all filled with bulk, except for like some older ETB cases that are just kind of lying around. But down here is more bulk boxes. There's literally thousands of bulk. Here's a bunch of bulk EXs that are over here. There's a bunch of other bulk cards behind me. Over here, this right here, this is all bulk right here. So we've got bulk trainers in here, bulk code cards here, just tons of different rarities of bulk, hollow rares, reverse hollows, maybe even energy cards. And this is what it all goes back to. It's not sexy to sell a card that you buy for a penny or 2 pennies, whatever the bulk price is right now. And we don't buy bulk right now, so it's not, we just have so much of it, but you can. And like I said, it's not sexy to go out there and pay a penny for a card and then turn around and sell it for a quarter. It's not great, right? Like, that's a huge percentage of margin, like gigantic, but it's not great. Like, it's not like you went out and bought a $10 card and it skyrocketed, or you sent it to PSA and now it's worth $100 or $200. It's not like you bought the Bubble Mew for $60 and now it's worth $600. It's literally a card that you paid a penny for that sells for 25 cents. But you do that. You do that hundreds of times a day. The important thing to remember is every card has value associated with it in some way. As I continue to go through and collect every Pokemon card and put them all together in master sets, which is this insane journey that we're trying to do, I'm buying a lot of commons and uncommons, throughout the years. Maybe, all back to the EX era, even like XY era, there's a lot of commons and uncommons that I have to buy. That stuff, it adds up. There's always people looking for that card, for one of those cards that you might be selling for a quarter. And it's not great margins, it's not huge margins, but it's pennies. And you start with pennies, and you work your way up to nickels, and then you work your way up to dimes, and then you work your way up to quarters, and then eventually you work your way up to dollars. It's like, you see all this POV stuff and you see all this vendor stuff, and I do think it's fantastic content, but it's not realistic for people who may be just getting into the hobby, or people who maybe want to start selling Pokemon cards, or people who want to increase their Pokemon card collection. It's not realistic to assume that you can go out and buy a card for X price and immediately it's going to sell for 100 times that amount. It's the ideology of
eating an elephant one bite at a time. It's the ideology of stepping stones and taking steps into the right direction. Well, how do you do something like that? How do you build a business off of pennies? And this is what I did for, I don't know, like a couple of years before things really started moving. Things like I was really able to start building up enough capital. I remember when I first started buying cards to sell, buying bulk and spending $300 a weekend and literally freaking out about that $300. Like, I didn't know where that $300 was going to come from. Like, I had no idea if I was going to be able to get that back. And it was a very worrisome time. But it followed the process. It really just followed the process and taking those stepping stones. If you're a storefront, this goes for storefronts, this goes for people who have the idea of becoming a storefront. If you're a storefront who wants to be successful and can't do it with sealed, you have to move to singles also. Singles are literally the lifeblood of your business because there will always be inventory for singles. There will always be enough singles that your business can work. And there will always be people looking to sell singles. There will always be people who are looking to sell off their collection. There will always be people who are looking to sell off their bulk. There will always be people who are looking to sell off their competitive cards because they have no need for them. And it is so helpful in the market because it helps keep costs down. It helps keep single costs down. It helps keep competitive costs down. And it might not sound fun because it is a grind. It is hours and hours of work. But that's building. You're building something up.
So I get questions all the time about where you go to learn this stuff, because there's a lot to learn, and education is obviously very, very important, especially when it comes to what you're selling. You want to be a product of the product. Like that's number one. Like you want to know exactly what's going on. You want to learn the competitive game. You want to learn about what cards are coming out. Like you want to be a business owner who actually knows everything that's going on. Even if you don't want to be a business owner, even if you're somebody who wants to just be a big-time collector or somebody who is growing a collection or whatever the case may be, you got to know what's going on. So utilizing assets like PokeGuardian and PokeBeach.com, and rest in peace Justin Basil, but one time he had the most amazing website of information, and it's a tragedy, the fact that he's no longer, like, what he has given to the game is it's never going to be replaced. And he did such an amazing job. The resources that he provided and the resources that are out there, like, you got to utilize those as much as you can. One website that is great for understanding not really understanding the game, but learning what's going on in the game, especially as we advance to a new season, is limitlesstcg.com. And I've talked about this one before a million times, but you can go here and you can see what's doing well in the current meta, what's doing well out there. So right now they have the World Championship up here. There's currently the first regional going on of the season, which is in Frankfurt. So this will be updated with that information very, very soon. But you can go here and you can see, okay, well, here's the World Championships 2025. This took place the weekend of August 15th, and it shows you the list of every card. And not only that, this is the winning list right here, but if you just click the card, it takes you it takes you everything. You can buy it on TCG Player. If you're in the EU, you can buy it on Card Market, but you can see the price points that they're all going for. Like Secret Box right here is a $15 ace spec. Like, you can see that just by looking. You can see how expensive Pheasantipity is as a staple card in competitive play. And one thing that you will notice is that these trainer cards, now they do vary a little bit depending on the deck that you're playing, because some of these cards are going to be specific to helping out whatever your main attacker is or whatever the case may be. But for the most part, the engine stays the same. You are always going to have, for the most part, Ultra Balls. You're going to have Arvins. You're going to have Ionos. You're going to have Professor's Researches. You'll probably have something like Counter Catcher, Nest Ball, Night Stretcher. Like, most of the decks are going to play those cards. Those are cards that people are buying on a regular basis. So if you go to TCG Player, for example, and you type in Nest Ball and you just look at Nest Ball, not an expensive card by any means. So right here you've got Nest Ball from Paldean Fates. So a reprinted copy of Paldean Fates. It's got reverse holo right here. But if you just change it to normal and just look at near mint copies of it, the amount that sells all the time, just on a daily basis, like, you're looking at 40 to 50 sales a day just on Nest Ball. If you look at a card like Night Stretcher, which is going to move
which is going to be just as popular, if not more popular, and there's only one printing of Night Stretcher, look how many copies it's selling on a weekly basis. On a daily basis, it's selling between 50 and 100 copies on a daily basis. So you could literally make a business buying and selling Night Stretchers. And the amount, like if you buy 50 Night Stretchers a day, let's say you pay $2 a piece on each Night Stretcher, 50 Night Stretchers, and you sell them for $3.27 every day. Like, this is obviously very unrealistic, but just bear with me for a second. $1.27 on each one after fees. Let's just say it's a buck profit on each one. 50 copies a day. Like, you're looking at $50 a day. Like, that could go a long way for your collection. That could go a long way. Like, you would have to buy a singular card that's worth $100 at $50 in order to do something like that. It's a lot more realistic, I guess, to sell multiple copies of Night Stretcher than pay 50% of something like that. So there's just a lot of different bulk cards out there, or cards that kind of fly under the radar that people don't really realize. And you get to find out all this information just by going to Limitless, and see what's doing well out there. So Dragapult, Dusknoir took second, so you can kind of see, okay, well, what sells here? Okay, I can see Badoo sell for 36 cents a piece. We've got the Latias EX right here selling for $6.36. Jamming Towers over here. Okay, so 46 cents on that. Counter Catcher. Okay, you're looking at like a buck for each Counter Catcher, which is fine. You can also go to TCG Player and you can figure out what's selling well just by going to advanced search. You can click on commons and uncommons, and you can narrow it down even further if you want to just look at energy items, stadium supporter tool, and just do a search. Then make sure that you have your filter changed to best selling, and this shows you all of the different current like best sellers on TCG Player that are just probably in your bulk boxes. So Night Stretcher is currently selling for $3.33. You've got Hilda, which just came out in White Flare. There's a lot of Hildas out there currently still doing extremely well. $2.10. Arvin from Scarlet and Violet Base and Obsidian Flame selling between $2 and $3, and they're probably moving a lot on a daily basis. So here's Arvin right here, and you can see selling between 20, 30, 40, 50 copies on a daily basis. So moving very, very liquid items. Air Balloon right here from Black Bolt, probably selling a lot on a daily basis. You can see, 50 to 100, 150 some days, 200 copies some days. So yeah, it's only $1. Like, don't sit here and think you're going to make millions of dollars selling air balloons. But if you do it enough times, it's really going to add up. You've got Counter Catcher over here selling for $1.46. Luminous Energy, which was not only printed in Paldea Evolved, but also printed in a million booster bundles, build and battle kits. So if you opened up a lot of build and battle kits, you've probably got a ton of Luminous Energies that are lying around that are $1 each. Now, is $1 really going to help you out that much? No. But if you're sitting on 20 or 30 of them, and you can set up an eBay account, or you can set up a TCG Player account, which is free to set up. Like, anybody can sell on TCG Player, and they're selling for $1 a piece, and you've got 30 of them. Well, sell them. If they're not doing you any good, if you're not playing competitively, you can move off of them, and you can utilize that $30 to help buy maybe something that is $30 more expensive than you really want to spend. Maybe you really want to get a Noivern V alternate art, and it jumped up to like $60, and you were willing to spend $30, but you're not willing to spend $60. Well, utilizing that $30 that you just made selling your Luminous Energies brings that Noivern V alternate art down to $30. Then you've also got, a bunch of other cards too. Bravery Charm selling for close to $1. Superior Energy Retrieval, which was also printed in a ton of build and battle kits. And then you've got older cards as well, like Guzman Hollow, which does big things in GLC, which is the Gym Leader Challenge, which is another format that, while it's not sanctioned to earn points, is very popular in competitive play. Currently selling for $7.32. Counter Catcher, which just, like, you have reprints of it. So the Crimson Invasion one is still good, selling for $2.64. It still works in competitive play. Floatstone, which is another big GLC card, selling for $5.80. You could have those lying around in your bulk boxes. And then you have a lot of other stuff. Double Dragon Energy Holland Transceiver from Delta Species selling for $24 right there. Battle Compressor selling for $2.28. You could have U-turn boards lying around in your bulk. Those selling for $4.93. Muscle Bands currently selling for $2.99. You've got cards like Hex Maniac selling for $2.13. Teammate selling for $2.74. Cynthia and Caitlin currently selling for $2.22. And the list goes on and on and on. There's just a lot of stuff that you might have lying around in your bulk boxes, like Field Blowers, like Ends, like Trainer's Mail. A lot of cards, Colress, that do well in GLC, that do well in GLC formats, or that do well in the current competitive format. that are worth money, that have value associated with them, that can go a long way into helping you build your business or build your collection, whatever it is that your goal is. And this is stuff that you have to keep up with on a daily basis. So yeah, it's great to have vendors who go out there and they're selling all these slabs and all these cards that are worth hundreds and thousands of dollars. And that's fantastic. That's great that they're able to do that, but that's not realistic for everybody, right? So starting off, this is open all the time. This is not dependent on a card show or anything like that, where you can make $1 here, $1 there, $1 all hours of the day, any day of the week. It's not dependent on a collecticon. It's not dependent on a card party. It's not dependent on a front row card show. It's always open. And that's something that the average person has the ability to do, or like they can do. You can look at double rares. Double rares right now, there's not a ton of them, but there are some that do well in competitive play. So you go back to searching Pokemon, you click on double rares, and you just hit search, and you look at the best selling, and you're like, okay, well, what's going on here? Well, we know Pheasantipity is one of the most popular competitive cards right now. Hasn't gotten a ton of reprints, right? Like we had in the Dragapult battle deck. We don't know if it's going to be in a future battle deck. It sure didn't come out in Prismatic Evolutions, selling for $15.04. The only access to it on a regular basis is Shrouded Fable, Golden Go, or Goldango, whatever you want to call it. Doesn't really matter. It's selling for $12.85 because of how well it just did. And then you have your first U.S. regional coming up in 2 weeks with Pittsburgh. So a lot of people kind of trying to figure out, okay, well, should I play Goldango? And they're buying Goldangos. And if you have extras of them, they're selling for $12.85. Well, if you look at it, in just a couple months ago, if we change the printing or the condition to near mint, just a couple months ago, it was a $5 card. So here it is selling for $4.86 back in end of June, middle of July, it was $4.74. But then you got, boom, end of July starts skyrocketing as people are prepping for the World Championships. And then all of a sudden it's up 133%, currently sitting at $12.99 because of its playability, because of competitive play. So it's definitely something that you might have extras. A Flareon EX starting to dive bomb from Prismatic Evolutions because it's not doing as well competitively, but currently selling for $6.14. Latias, which does well in that Dragapult, currently selling for $6.16. Gengar EX currently selling for $4.19. Not for any other reason, not for any competitive reason, just because it's Gengar. Umbreon EX, EVEX, Leafeon EX, EV Box. You've even got Raging Bolt currently selling for $3.53. $3.53 isn't a lot, but like Bulky X's sell for 50 cents. You might have this in your Bulky X box. Like you might have Bulky X's. You might have extra copies. You might have opened up a ton of Scarlet and Violet 151, and you might be sitting on 10 of these Mew EXs, or maybe you opened up some of those Gardevoir battle decks, and then you've got Mew EXs there. They're currently selling for $6.79, but slowly trending downward. These are things, like I said, that you don't want to just sit off of. You don't want to just leave around in your bulk boxes, because one day you'll regret it. Like it will happen. One day you'll be like, once rotation hits, this is something that's super important to remember. Once rotation hits, this price won't stay. So Latias EX currently selling for $6.16. That is very dependent on how it performs competitively. Goldango currently selling for $12.85. Very dependent on playability. Same thing with Pheasantipity. Once Pheasantipity rotates, which won't be for a year and a half probably, or gets reprinted, this price will fall, or something better comes along. If something better comes along in the format, then Goldango isn't good anymore. It's going to drop. And that it's going to drop because it's already done that before, right? Like we've seen it before. If we just pan out for a second and look at a year historically, how it's done, the ebbs and flows went from $9.35 back down to $4.21, went up to $12.28, then down to $4.26. It's cycling because of how well it's doing in competitive play. And then all of a sudden jumps up to $13.96 recently. You can see the quantity of sales. This isn't buyouts like what you're seeing in the collector market right now. This isn't people going in and buying it out. This is just because less people are playing it, more people are playing it. Less people are playing it, more people are playing it. And that's what's impacting the price point on these cards. It's supply and demand based off of how it's performing competitively. So when it comes to wanting to make a difference in the Pokemon card space and building a business, and maybe you want to do things the right way, which is what we are trying to do, this is the only way things work. And this is rough. This is really rough. So when we're sitting there and I'm updating prices on cards and uploading singles, hours every night, like hours every night to try and get singles. This is the only thing right now that's keeping our business going, because we don't get enough product. We don't get enough product to turn around and sell at MSRP. And once we do get, our allocation for Mega Evolution, once that comes out to us, we're going to sell it and it's going to be sold out in a minute. It's going to be sold out in 2 minutes. And then we have 2 months until the next set release. And then once we get that, we'll sell it at MSRP and it'll sell out in 2 minutes. And then we've got, another 3 months until the next set release. But it's what do you do in those 3 months in between to make things work? And this is what it is. This is how a business that sells at MSRP can keep the doors open and can continue to sell at MSRP, because you're still hitting your margins. And one of the things that when I go walk around at card shows and I sit there and I listen to other people, and you have something in the case, like this is not really one of my pet peeves, but I almost find it interesting. And somebody comes up and they say, hey, how firm are you on that price? It's gone down a little bit. And the vendor says, no, that's not for sale. I just have it in the case for show. Okay, like that doesn't make any sense. Or if they say, no, I'm really firm on that because I've got more into it. I've got a lot into it. I bought it at the top of the market, so I've got to get that price on it. And it's fine. Like if you don't want to haggle, you don't want to haggle. But what's interesting to me is that card does not dictate your margins overall. And as a store owner, that's what you got to look at. It's your store owner. It's your margins overall. You do not look at margins on specific cards. You look at margins based off of the inventory that you paid for, that you brought with you. So if you go to a card show and you bring you spent $75,000 on inventory for that card show, and you want to make 25% profit, your goal is to make $100,000. It's not off of every individual card, because there's going to be cards there that you probably are making 40% margin on. So it's all about the average. So that is always something that interests me, and that's always something that, yeah, you might have more into that card, but what do you have into all these other cards? And that's the mindset that you might have to lose $1 on some cards. You might lose a little bit of money on some cards to make a little bit more money on some of the other cards. And that's something that you have to keep in mind. Once you start getting all of this inventory, once you start getting all these cards, it's an overall look at your margin, not just an individual card. And if you continue to grow your collection, and a lot of people utilize Collector, the app, to look at. They'll look at what their collection total is, and you probably see screenshots, and maybe you're like, oh, I want $100,000 collection like this person has. It's about working your way up to that, and this is how you work your way up to that as a store owner, as a storefront. This is what keeps the door open. This is literally the blood work for your business. And there's a lot of stores that only sell sealed, which is fine. But what do you do when sealed's not available? Well, a lot of stores right now are arguing and fighting and being called scalpers because they have to, because they're buying at prices close to market from distro, but because they're not selling singles. And I understand it's a lot of work, and it's not necessarily always fun work, but this is what you have to do. So I want to talk about that a little bit, just to kind of throw out that as an option, so that way you can see what it's like. This is what you have to do if you're going to sell at MSRP. This is what you do to grow the community, or at least try to grow the community. And this is what we do to try and grow the community. And we're still learning. Like every day you learn. Like I've been doing this for a long time, but every day I learn new things. I'm going to fail. I've failed 1,000,000 times. I fail probably more than I succeed. But the great thing about failure is like you're one step closer to success every time. So failure is great. Like it happens. And it's a good thing to learn off of. So you learn a lot more by failing than you do by succeeding. So let me tell you, I know for a fact. I hope you enjoyed the content. I'm going to stop rambling. If you did, please hit that subscribe button down below. Leave a like, leave a comment. Kind of a different video, but more just a casual thing. I just wanted to talk about what it takes. So I hope you learned something. I really, really hope you did. Thank you so much. I'll be back tomorrow with another video. Love you guys. Talk to you tomorrow. Until next time. Peace.